Hello, Mechanicsburg. Are you ready for Friday Night Football? My name is Jacob Teal, and I'm with M.I.B.N. We're here today with Indians head coach Kurt Forrest and Mechanicsburg senior Tristan. We will be discussing last week's victory over Greenon and tonight's game with West Jeff. Tonight's game will be broadcasted on YouTube, brought to you by M.I.B.N. Be sure to check it out. Go Berg!
Hey Coach, how you doing today?
Doing good, Drake. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Today we're just going to be discussing last week's game against Greenon and everything that's gone into leading up to this game against West Jeff.
Okay.
So how is the team feeling after a big win against Greenon last week?
Anytime in life when you get a win, it's always good to feel good about that and to celebrate that, to understand the work that goes into it. So we've tried to look at things we did good. Usually that would be our second scrimmage. So we're still sharpening up things. Got to get better on the details, the tackling, the blocking, take care of the football. The simple things that you see some mistakes here or there, making sure your eyes in the right place. Just the simple fundamental keys of the game that we've got to get a lot better at to sharpen up. And when you master those things, you got a chance to be a good football team.
So talking about that, what have you improved on from last week's game?
I think last of all, just some of the things I just touched on, is making sure you're in a good stance, making sure your eyes are right, making sure your eyes are on the keys, being focused, communicating pre-snap to make sure we're all on the same page. So a lot of things defensively that we can do a lot better to be more detailed, to be more fundamental, and to improve on last week's performance. Special teams has obviously been a huge thing we've looked at this week of sharpening some things up after giving up a kickoff return for a touchdown. So yeah, so there's a lot of things we're working on. I mean, usually this would be going into our third scrimmage, so a lot of things to get better at.
So if you could go back to last week's game on Friday, what would you change and why?
The opening kickoff, that'd be a good thing to change. Not giving up a touchdown there. I don't know. When you get into a game, you start playing. I think the important thing is to learn from it, and I think we are. I think we're learning from our mistakes and understanding that. We didn't have any tape on Greenon, so it's hard to say that we would have done this or done that differently. I think our kids did a good job adjusting on the fly, getting the feel for them, and going from there.
So what are your thoughts about West Jeff?
As usual, they're a very, very good football team. They're well coached. They have 80 kids on the roster. They rotate a ton of kids in and out to try to keep them fresh. Their quarterback's a very good player. Their receivers are very good players. Their offensive line is a little more athletic this year than it was last year. They're not as big. They might not be quite as physical, but they're more athletic. They do a good job of running and working together. They got 3 or 4 running backs that they rotate through, and all of them are very adequate ball carriers. So I'd say they're a little more focused on the passing game this year than in years past, and they should be, because they got some really good players at receiver and quarterback.
So what has your message been to your team leading into this game?
It's a championship week type atmosphere. I mean, there's no secret the success that West Jeff's program had, the success that our programs had, and we've been so close in the years past. Last year losing by a score, the year before that losing in the last seconds. So these have been some really good ball games, and these kids have been there and battled. West Jeff through the years been some really good football games, and we just haven't came out on top yet. So to enjoy the atmosphere, to enjoy championship week, to make sure you're locked in, make sure you're focused, and go put your best foot forward on Friday night.
So this senior class is 0-3 against West Jeff. What have you done differently to prepare for this year?
I just think we've tried to be more detailed, in everything we do. It's not the big picture, it's not the scheme. It's making sure your eyes are right, making sure your shoulders right, making sure when you slant to a gap that you have to do it this exact way. It's all the tiny details of executing the job that you're asked to do. And if we can do those things, then we'll give ourselves a chance to compete Friday night and a chance to win the game, hopefully.
So the run game against Greenon was strong. So will that run game play a big part in this game against West Jeff?
I think if you want to be a good football team, you better be able to run the football. And anytime you go into a game, especially a big game, you better be able to keep people honest. You better be able to have something consistent on the ground game you can rely on and go to. And so yeah, it's going to be a huge part of the game, just like the run game's a huge part of every football game, for sure.
So have you been marking this game against West Jeff as more important than others?
I don't know if you say it's more important than others, because if you start doing that, then you maybe lose a game you shouldn't lose, or or you put too much emphasis on something. And they're all important. Obviously, with the success of West Jeff's program, the success of our program, it makes it a huge game with a lot of possible league championship type stuff on the line. Usually in a normal year, there'd be a lot of playoff points on the line. But obviously this game is extremely important to us, and we're excited to go attack it, but every game's important.
Well, that's all I have. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and talk to us.
Thanks, Drayton. I appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Jacob Teal. I'm here today with Tristan. Tristan, how are you?
I'm doing good, Goop. How are you?
I'm doing very good. I'd like to ask you a couple questions about tonight's game.
Sounds good.
What position do you play, and have you played in your entire high school career?
I play quick tackle and the 5 technique, and I have been moved around on defense and offense throughout my high school career.
Why did you start playing football?
I started playing football because I liked it a lot better than soccer. That's when I really started playing, and I love playing with my buddies.
How does it feel that you're going to be how does it feel to be a senior?
It feels pretty good. I mean, it is my last year, but all the years working up to this means a lot. So, pretty excited.
Well, how do you feel about last week's game?
After last week's game, I thought it started out kind of slow, but as it went on, it got a lot better, and I thought we really grinded out, worked hard for it.
Do you plan on going to college to play football anywhere?
At this point, I don't really know yet, so we'll see what happens.
I respect that. What would be your advice for any youngins that are playing football right now down at the park?
My advice for any youngins are just to keep having fun, keep showing up, and keep working.
Do you have any intentions on coming back and coaching after you're gone?
I don't plan to come back and coach immediately. I do plan to come back and watch some practices, be on the sidelines for next year's and the year after. But I do plan to eventually come back and coach.
If you tell your younger self one thing who's just starting football, what would it be?
If I could tell myself one thing, I would probably tell myself just keep showing up, keep working hard, and it'll all pay off in the end.
This is Tristan Hall, senior.